Welcome back to Views with Hughes, your agenda-free news. I'm Jerome Hughes, the host and creator of the channel. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel and also click the bell notification so that way you'll be alerted and notified of future uploads and updates. All right, so I'm pretty sure you all have known about Ezra Miller. Okay, he's back in the news without even showing his face up in public once again, or at the companies or of any movie sets that we know of so far. Okay, so there's been several stories put out there about him today as well as last night. So we already know about this insider story which talks about Ezra Miller's friends concerning that the actor travels in the US with body armor and guns and claiming that Miller's being followed by the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, and this is about, like, I want to say, like, thousands of words on this page where Miller was accused of starting a cult, where he was walking around through Iceland in like bad body odor with what looks to be an infected wound on his foot. Okay, and also being there starting a cult. All right, so one person pinned the article and they stated it was May morning in Los Angeles, and Sarah Jumping Eagle, who was the native indigenous person who was desperate to get her 18-year-old daughter away from Ezra Miller. All right, so it talked about where Jumping Eagle said that Miller had left bruises on the daughter, ionized on arms and cheeks, restricted access to her phone, and verbally abused her. All right, so now fast forward through the article where it starts talking about Miller starting a cult over in Iceland as well. Okay, now wait a minute, going into his family life. All right, so February 2020, Miller was traveling to London to film Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore, in which Miller played the character Credence Barebone. All right, when filming the movie, the spinoff from Harry Potter, it was halted due to COVID-19. That's Miller headed to Iceland. All right, so his presence there, Miller's presence there, was poorly received by some of those who were in Iceland and everything, who the actor was aggressive and, you know, like had a putrid smell to a putrid stench, if you will. Okay, now the actor rarely changed clothes and also walked barefoot down the street with what looked to be like an infected wound or something. Okay, so that's where the claims came, where Miller started a cult. All right, where it says here, one woman who visited the house for a day in March 2020 recalled several mattresses spread out on the floor and compared the house to a commune, and she was struck by how enamored guests seemed to be of Miller, hanging on their every word and seeming unfazed by Miller's mood swings. I felt like everyone was hypnotized. Now, this is basically the telltale pattern of being in a cult, where everyone follows the lead of the leader and then go ahead and react to his or her different behaviors, manners, and words. Okay, just to keep them, like, you know, happy, if you will. All right. Now, Miller was like between Miller's makeshift commune monologues on spirituality and emotional outbursts, rumors began to circulate in one city that the star was running a cult. Okay, so Miller had an Airbnb when started alluding to possessing supernatural powers, and then also lashing out at others whenever Miller started thinking that people were taking things a little too far. Okay, so two people stated that Miller's celebrity status and power made them hesitant to go against the actor. Matter of fact, one woman, as it says later in this article, stated that, you know, she started realized what was going on, and she wasn't really feeling it. And then Miller would often get upset about her, being on the phone, contact the people who are outside that commune. And then she felt that, she had to sneak away, text her parents to come, text somebody that she know to pick her up. And then she had to sneak out of the place just to leave. Okay. Now, this might be the newest report, but there's been other reports on other news sites that have been uploaded today, where it's stated from CBR.com, which I rarely use as a source. Ezra Miller's erratic behavior on the stand, which is a miniseries, upset and scared other actors. So now we not only see that, there's regular citizens out there that's, affected by Miller's behavior, but those who work with Miller as well. Okay, so from the Business Insider, it was Kevin Armstrong recalling that Miller made a habit of screaming and spitting during takes to get a rise out of people, but he didn't stop there. Armstrong also stated the actor once yelled out an offensive joke. It was something to the effect of a Jew, a black man, and a gay man walk into a bar, and the bartender said, "Hey, what are you doing here? You don't belong here," he said. Oh boy. Also reported further, things eventually escalated to a point where Miller's legal counsel and manager were called because multiple people were on the set were feeling unsafe. It was disgusting and horribly unprofessional, Armstrong said. So now we also see that Miller is still doing different projects where Miller's behavior still seems to be making people unsafe and uncomfortable, and it's also affecting the actor's career. Even the legal team had to be called out just to go ahead and calm Miller down, diffuse the situation, so that way no legal precedents would be taken any further. All right. And then there's another story where Miller was reportedly believed of being followed by the Ku Klux Klan. Now, this was also contributed in the Insider article, where Miller believed the Ku Klux Klan was, following Miller. And then that's why Miller had the body armor and also guns going through the country. Okay. Now, it says here the Flash actor has been the subject of many controversies recently, and it seems like Miller's behavior, well, this article says their behavior is only becoming more and more worrying. Okay. Miller has been a prominent name in Hollywood since the early 2010s, from We Need to Talk About Kevin to Fantastic Beasts, and from Perks of Being a Wallflower to Justice League. And don't forget his appearances on the show Royal Pains. Okay. I believe that's where he might have got his first start, or one of his early starts, if not his first. However, and this started in 2020, alarming stories began to come up about the actor's behavior. In April, they were filmed seemingly choking a woman and throwing her to the ground. And I remember that video. Okay. I heard that woman might have been pregnant. I'm not sure. Okay. Now, Ezra Miller allegedly believes that being followed by the Ku Klux Klan, that's why Miller had the guns and everything. Okay. So that's why he was traveling the U.S. with those items. Okay. So then Miller has been accused of assaulting and harassing multiple people, including a couple in Hawaii, who created a petition following the actor supposedly breaking into their home and screaming at them in their bed. And there have been even talks of cult-like activity, like I stated in the earlier article, where Miller was seen walking around Iceland barefoot. And it was also stated Miller has also been accused of seeking out vulnerable young women and non-binary people who they could isolate from their families in order to control them completely, and sometimes sexually. Yes, there has been times where there's been people coming forward and stating that they've had sex with Ezra Miller, but then that his behavior started affecting them, where Miller becomes violent towards them and also, assaults them, and then does like a lot of crazy behavior towards other people, yelling at them, spitting at them, so on and so forth. Okay, they even talked about the time where a man came forward, stated that that Miller took the mother of his kids and his kids to his farmland up in Vermont and everything outside the state lines without his consent and, and knowledge. All right. It also says here one of those alleged victims, a young non-binary woman, Takata said they invited Miller to stay with them and a family friend in South Dakota. During this stay, Miller is said to have unexpectedly drawn a gun, ranted about being followed by the FBI, and refused to let Takata out of Miller's sight. Okay. So then that's when it comes to Miller carrying guns, wearing a lot of armor, and throughout the U.S. Okay, and usually that sounds like somebody that's either looking for trouble or isn't aware of their own senses, if you will. And now it's being stated that Ezra Miller is a danger to those, whether it be those around Miller as well as who Miller works with in Hollywood. Okay. So now we have so far different DC projects canceled and pulled, like Batgirl and Supergirl, as I reported before. And now we see that David Zaslav is still sticking behind the whole release of The Flash in June 2023. Now the question now comes down to, will he actually make this Miller's last movie? Or will he go ahead and do the reshoots of the movie itself? Okay, but I highly think that, this might be Miller's last movie as a Flash, but we shall see. Okay, but other than that, I believe that Ezra Miller really needs to seek help. Those who are around Miller believes that Miller needs to seek help as well. Okay. Another thing is that if Miller doesn't seek help, then it might lead to death, or maybe even departing from Hollywood, getting kicked out of Hollywood, or maybe even going to jail. Who knows? So let me know, what are your thoughts about this whole thing? What do you think about what should happen, what's going to happen? All right. Also, do you think that if there's any possibility of him being affected by this behavior, or do you think that he's basically going to be bulletproof? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't done so, click that subscribe button and click the bell notification, so that way you'll be alerted of future videos and uploads. And if you enjoyed the things that's been shared in this video, please hit that like button, if you will, and share this video on social media. Until then, peace.